Thousands of Muslim detainees had been rendered invisible by the government's secrecy, and many of their families were in hiding. As a New Yorker, I never wanted the horror of 9/11 to happen again, but I'm also a Japanese American. My own grandparents spent 3 years behind a barbed wire fence during World War II. I was afraid history was repeating itself. So all I had was a sense that something unjust could be happening, but there was nothing I could do about it. And then I met Farouk. Farouk had been arrested and interrogated in April 2002. He'd come to the United States from Palestine 25 years ago, after his family's home was destroyed by occupation forces.
I believe in peace. My mother is killed by the terrorism act of the occupation in Israel in the first Intifada. My house and my house is burned up. I against what happened here in New York in 9/11.
It was the third Saturday after 9/11. Farouk organized a peace rally with a rabbi and a Catholic priest. They called for an end to terrorism and an end to the backlash against Muslims, Arabs, and South Asians.
And I believe in this country here, in the United States. I'm not going to shut my mouth to talk about my rights,
As bad as his own situation was, I didn't see a trace of fear in him. I'd grown up with the idea that the government was unstoppable in wartime, even when it was being completely unjust, even racist. But Farouk saw this as a battle that could be won. And for the first time, I began to see it that way too, that history didn't have to repeat itself. As I witnessed the struggle for Farouk's freedom, I found I couldn't remain just an observer. This was a fight I had to join. This is the story of the 2-year struggle we fought for Farouk's freedom. It's also the story of my personal journey of joining this struggle and facing its echoes in my family's past.
As soon as he was arrested in front of my eyes, they were manhandling him. As soon as he got to 26 Federal Plaza, they hit him in the face, they kicked him, they hit him in the head. He's had guns pointed at him, he's been taken out, in front of people, literally in his underwear and shackles. It's really bad. I am fearful for my father. Everything and everyone has a limit to their threshold. And that isn't just people like you and me, or my dad, but that also includes the government. So it's basically a battle of wills.
It's me, it's alright.
What I'm thinking is, instead of this being solely an INS case, essentially...
It has not been an INS case since 1999.
You just said that the INS can't keep...
It is a civil case.
You just said that the INS can't keep, my dad.
Farouk got the legal papers in front of them. It says, Farouk Abdel-Muhti versus John Ashcroft, etc., etc. It is a suit. We've had a suit for 1.5 years. Everybody involved in holding Farouk is named in the suit. It's John Ashcroft. It's the head of, it's Tom Ridge. It's David Venturella. It's the warden of whatever jail he's in. Everybody who's holding him is named. The FBI was going to come and interrogate all of us, too.
That's pretty stupid, because if they want, I can testify, and my argument would be, well, You know,
Okay,
that's a description of his circumstances. He's in a box.
Listen to what we said with the
He's
legal
expressing
advice.
his feelings.
If the FBI calls
guy
you,
is under
if the
emotional
FBI
strain.
wants to talk to you, you're going to say nothing of the sort. You're going to call the attorney.
The Department of Homeland Security put Farouk in solitary confinement. Farouk had been in prison for 22 months, 8 of them in solitary confinement. He had been beaten and denied medication for his high blood pressure, and his health was seriously deteriorating.
I hate that he's in here, you know, and I hope that he gets out as soon as possible.
Because I miss him. You know, he's the only family that I have.
They wanted to get one last shot of Tarek going in front of the sign that said Hudson County Jail. Then a police car came speeding up to us. Tarek has been missing since 3 o'clock this afternoon. He called to say that some cops were at his door telling him they had a warrant. He was a counterterrorism official. That's how he identified himself. I'm not sure exactly which agency.
It seems pretty clear them going to the apartment, you know, with a warrant and Tarek disappearing are not sort of unrelated circumstances and are not unrelated to what happened to Konrad. So I think when Jeff called...
Suddenly, the documentary itself became the focus of a counterterrorism investigation. The Japanese Americans in the camps were forbidden to have cameras. Was this photo a threat to national security?
Well, I think reading this, it just sort of kind of hurts me more than anything else, you know? It really does. We didn't do anything, just that we were Japanese.
Exigent times call for very strenuous reaction. There is nothing wrong with profiling the way we are seeing this now. With people who would take planes and smack them into buildings, they are not playing by the rules, and there's nothing wrong, in my mind, so long as we're sensitive. We don't have to be politically correct with a gun being held to our head.
I'd never known a more gentle person who was at the same time so completely fearless, and so I was still very troubled by what led to his death.